Hi, my name is Adriana Pervizaj, and I'm a senior in New York City. My project was to create 3D printed adjustable insoles for children with cerebral palsy. I became interested in this project when I started shadowing a pediatrician, and I was able to hear firsthand stories from children and their parents on the struggles of cerebral palsy and what they deal with daily. So with this, I wanted to help be a part of the solution, and I've dedicated a little more than 6 months to conducting research and perfecting my prototype. So now that I've shared a little bit of a background behind the start of my project, I'm going to dive deeper into the research I conducted and the outcome. So what is cerebral palsy? Cerebral palsy, so cerebral means the brain and palsy means weakness in the muscles. So with that, cerebral palsy is a group of disorders that affects a person's ability to move, maintain balance, and have correct posture. It can either be developed in delivery or in a child's early years. Symptoms of cerebral palsy can vary based on the severity of the disease. And if you draw your attention to the image that's on the slideshow, um, you'll see that there's images or figures covered in green and orange. The orange represents the affected area and the green represents the functioning areas. So the first figure is a um, hemiplegic, which half of the body is non-functioning and the other half is. Diplegic is essentially the same thing, it just varies based on vertically non-functioning or horizontally non-functioning. And lastly is the third patient who is a quadriplegic. This means their entire body is affected and only their head is able to move. And if you look above the figures, there's the brain and the hot pink areas are the affected areas. So statistics of cerebral palsy in the US. So studies over the past several decades have shown us that 764,000 people have been affected with cerebral palsy, and 500,000 of those 764,000 people are under the age of 18, and 2 or 3 out of 1,000 children are born with cerebral palsy each year. And below is the picture of a study that was conducted by the CDC. They took 8-year-olds with cerebral palsy and tested how independently they were able to function. So what are insoles and how do they help people with cerebral palsy? So there are different types of cerebral palsy insoles, and they're usually custom fit to fit the individual's feet and specific needs. Some insoles are made of more soft cushion materials to provide comfort and shock absorption, while others are made of more rigid materials to provide greater support and stability. Cerebral palsy insoles are designed to address issues by providing additional support and stability to the feet and lower limbs. They can also help correct foot deformities, improve the alignment of lower limbs, and distribute pressure evenly across the feet. This can improve balance, risk of falling, and make walking more comfortable. So what are the issues with current insoles? So there are several issues with children with cerebral palsy, what they face, and so the first being proper fitting. Cerebral palsy insoles are custom to fit the individual's feet, which can be challenging with children who have rapidly growing feet, and frequent refitting may be necessary to ensure the insoles properly fit the child and that they provide the intended support that they're supposed to. With that, there's the effect of frequent refitting, which is cost. Custom-made cerebral palsy insoles can be very expensive, and not all insurance plans cover them, so this can be a barrier for families who may not have the financial resources to pay for the insoles out of pocket. Third, there's sensory issues. Children with cerebral palsy may have sensory processing issues that make it difficult for them to tolerate the feeling of the insoles in their shoes, and some may find the insoles uncomfortable, irritating, or make it challenging for them to wear consistently. Lastly, I would say there's stigma. Children with cerebral palsy may already face stigma and discrimination due to their condition, and wearing visible insoles in their shoes may draw unwanted attention or make them feel self-conscious. So my project steps, I was able to reach out to a podiatrist specialist named Dr. Lionel Hausman. He helped me steer in the right direction with finding software programs and understanding the inner workings of cerebral palsy insoles. With my mentor at Polygence, we discussed software program options that I was provided with, and we decided which one was best for me, and which was Fusion 360. And then once we chose the program, we printed, and now I'm working towards distributing the insoles to a foundation called the Cerebral Palsy Foundation, located in New York City. And after completing the physical portion of it, I wrote a 12-page research paper on the analysis of the prototype, and I created my own website. So what makes for a good insole? I would say many things make for a good insole. It's really about whether or not the insole is effective or comfortable. I do want to share a quote from the doctor that I worked with and his opinion on the question of what physically makes a good insole. He said, the polymer used in 3D printing insoles is made from the heel to the metatarsal heads. There is a top cover of either neoprene or leather and a cushion underneath called poron that makes the orthotic comfortable and effective. So this is my project prototype for the sole. So using Fusion 360 and Tinkercad, I created a left and right insole to print as prototypes. This is just the bottom portion of the insole. I'll show the add-ons later. Here is the calf portion of the insole. The bottom insole you just saw before slides into the bottom of the calf portion, and here are some different angles of it. And as I wrap up my presentation, here's the link to the website I created, which includes my research paper and the images below, or that I showed before, and also a video of the creation. Thank you.
Great. I'll open it up for questions for Adriana. I guess actually the first one I'll ask is, have you had any users, any testers? Has anyone worn the insoles?
So I first tried them out on myself because I wanted to make sure that I wasn't asking someone to test out something that was uncomfortable. And then once I tested it out myself, I was able to work with the pediatrician's office that I had originally shadowed at and Dr. Lionel Hausman's office. And I got to test my insoles on some children just to see like what their thoughts were. And after any revisions, I finally had my product.
Great. And then I see a raised hand from Mohammed. If you want to ask a question live, I can allow you to talk. Let's see. Is there a question?
Hi, Adriana.
Hi.
Yes. So my question is that the materials you used in the insoles, were they bio-friendly, like eco-friendly, and how long do they endure? Means, is there any wear and tear, time limit, time span for those insoles you have made?
Yeah. So I tested with a lot of different options. There are some that are more bio-friendly, and there's other materials that are more durable and have a longer wear time. That was one of, I tried to really make sure that it was durable and that there was no like refitting or needing to purchase another insole just to keep costs down for families. But I think some of the materials are definitely bio-friendly. I'm not sure about some of the other ones, but yes, I think they're pretty durable.
So my next question, may I ask it?
Yes, please.
Yes, thank you. And the next question is that, do you plan to, that just spread your program to the, that if you, I think you have just tested some with prototypes with someone, control subjects. Are you planning to spread your program to the other people who are having that cerebral palsy?
Yeah, so I think if I understand the question correctly, I'm just starting with kind of distributing the insoles through the Cerebral Palsy Foundation. And if I see that, the number of insoles that are being distributed starts to increase, then I would definitely expand where I distribute the insoles to.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. That is
Thank
all.
you.
Thank you for that.
Great. Thank you so much. I'll go ahead and there is another question in the chat. Do insoles ever need to be pre-made for a child?
Um,
And I'm not sure if somebody wants to jump on and clarify what they mean by that.
if you mean like when a child is born with cerebral palsy, do they have to be pre-made to fit them before they're born? I don't think so. I think that they're just when the child is born, you fit them. Oh,
Specially made, I think. So you mean basically uniquely fitted to each child's foot, I assume.
yeah. So they do. A child and their parents would go see a doctor and get fitted for it. They would test it on it's like a 3D scan that they would do of your foot, and it gets sent to a lab, and that lab would um, custom make the insole to fit to your foot.
Great. Any other questions for Adriana?